Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is episode 2 of Sky TV. I do appreciate you guys tuning in today. We're doing something different. I know this is a gaming YouTube channel, but honestly, I decided to do this small little talk show. Sky TV. I want to start, like I said, we're going to be doing everything: gaming, music, movies, everything, even books. So today is actually a personal interview with two of my best friends, Mr. Paul Dulski and Tessa Baker. Say hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
So, guys, this episode is talking about Paul and Tessa's podcast that they do, Everything Horror Podcast, which I am grateful to be a part of. It's a great podcast that Paul and Tessa have made. It discusses everything on horror, and it does books, movies, music, games, everything that you can think of the horror aspect. They do that. They also do personal interviews with people. I'm gonna let them explain more about that when the time comes, but also we're gonna be talking about Paul's book that he wrote, his series of his books that he has wrote. He's going to be talking about that along with Tessa with her new book that she just released. What was it, about a year ago? A few months ago?
Last year, October.
Last year. So we're gonna be talking about their book, guys. I just want you guys to know who they are. These two people that I'm interviewing today mean a lot to me. So I definitely want to get their names, and I want people to know who they are. So let's get started. Paul and Tessa, let's talk about the Everything Horror Podcast that you guys have created together. Explain to people a little bit more what that is and what made you create such a thing.
Okay, so I'll take this one because you just had to mention the create the thing. So, I guess you could say I was at work one day and, I just had this idea, I guess, where I guess me and Tessa were just like bored and we were just not really
We wanted something to do together.
Yeah, to help, like, I guess you could say kill time, but now it's more like, because we're in the second season now, almost near the end of season 2, which that was been kind of a interesting road.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could say one day I was just working and I was just like, as much as we like horror, what if I could figure out a way to make a horror podcast? But that's part of it. The real main reason was from another podcast that I listened to, and I just like the fact of like how good the podcast I was listening to was, even though we're not that good like quality wise, even though we're still working on it. I don't really feel like spending $100 just for one track to be edited professionally. Mine is the way it is, and if you don't like it, I just don't care.
Right.
But I mean, we're not rich people. We're doing this out of pretty much a hobby. We love horror, and I kind of threw Tessa the idea, and I'll let Tessa take this.
So he came home and he was like, hey babe, how about we do like a horror podcast and talk about everything horror, from everything from games to movies to music to figurines
to books,
like just everything, because you and I have such an affinity for horror, so why not? And I was like, well, yeah, let's give it a shot. So our first episode of the first season was actually a test episode to see how we
could do
it and how we would like the idea. So the first episode was more of just like a
test,
like to break the ice. We found once we got the hang of it, we became more organized about episodes and what we could talk about, and questions we could set up, and how we brought you guys into the episodes, and made you guys a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we were mainly not trying to focus on just us. We also wanted to get in on our friends being guests as well, to help maybe talk more, not just talk more about it, but like also have the ability to maybe ask us questions that we may have missed to even ask too, and stuff, because depending on the game, here's a great example of Until Dawn. When we were all talking about that, we had so many different outcomes, and I mean, a lot of us did the same thing, but I still remember when you guys were booing at me for killing Josh, I think it was.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, it's safe to say it's just fun.
Well, what I like about the whole situation is the fact that you and Tessa have taken something that you guys thought was just a regular idea, you didn't know if it was going to work, and you've created something special that people are enjoying to this day. I mean, you're on season 2, getting ready to go on season 3, so it's definitely a great thing to see, and to me, honestly, to see my friends succeeding in something, it really is it warms my heart, and it makes me happy to see that one little idea that you guys had that you didn't even think was going to work, and then you take this little life in your hand, and you see how far you can take it. It was phenomenal. And honestly, to be honest with you guys, the cool thing about Paul and Tessa and their podcast is when we do everything horror, the cool thing about it is we take the games that we've played in the past, but the cool thing about us and what we do is it's not about just sharing the memories with you. The best part about that, and the most funnest part about the whole podcast, is the fact that me, Tessa, Paul, and Lamont and Crystal, and even Bree, and everybody that's a part of the Everything Horror podcast, what I enjoy the most about this is the memories that we make together when it comes to playing these games. We'll play Friday the 13th together. We play that all the time. I mean, when it comes to Murdered Soul Suspect and Outlast, even though Outlast 2 was garbage, everything that we do...
Wait, I don't mean to interrupt, but I need to let people know. But, so PlayStation is doing another sale. It's called double discount sale or some bullshit. Mm-hmm. But I just want to throw out there that Outlast 2 is actually on sale right now.
Mm. So guys, if you guys want to play this game, go pick it up right now, because this is probably your best bet. I mean, don't spend the full, what was it, $40 on the game? What it was? Yeah, $40 on the game, like it was because it's not worth $40. So if you want to pick it up now, pick up your copy now. But like I said, back to what I was saying. Like I said, it's the best part of all of this, guys, is the memories that we make together as friends. And like I was telling you guys before, Paul and Tessa have they have made something special and something so beautiful, and the fact that I'm witnessing that it's now on 3 seasons, it's truly amazing, and it truly makes me happy to see that my friends are successful. So let's talk about, for a second, the types of interviews that you've had for people that have not heard your podcast. Let's talk about some of the stuff that you have done, some of the episodes that you've done, to give people an idea of what we're talking about here.
Well, we've had interviews with not just you, Barry, and the rest of our friends. We've also given interviews to Ditch Day,
mm-hmm.
Daniel P. Coughlin, Ryan Coughlin, and Megan Waters from Ditch Day. Yep.
We've also interviewed Grant's
Halloween music,
from
known as
Shadow Symphony.
Yep. Wait, that guy is badass. Like, you guys need to seriously go and support him.
Yeah, his Halloween music and him as a person, he's incredible. We talked with him for almost about 2.5 hours, but our interview with him was about an hour and 25 minutes. But we talked to him for like an additional
hour and a half.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, was this was the one that was most recent, right? With
yes.
The phone call? Okay, cool.
We also have an upcoming interview on Saturday with Bill Oberst Jr. He was also in Ditch Day. For those of you that don't know Ditch Day, Bill Oberst Jr. has also been in CSI.
Great show.
Criminal Minds.
He's also
another great show.
He's also played in movies like Scream at the Devil, Nuns with Guns,
Haunting in Salem.
So he's
just pretty much in everything.
He's a pretty well-known actor. Let's
yes.
just put it that way. And we have the pleasure of having an interview with him this Saturday, so that'll be exciting.
Yes, and we want to try something new too. So if there is a question that you yourself would ask Bill Ober, send it our way because we're trying to take questions. So
right. Which, hey guys, so guys, there you guys have it. You guys hear this isn't just interviewing friends. They're actually interviewing big people nowadays. When it comes to actors and actresses, they're interviewing everybody. So it's not like I said. So they've taken this little thing, and the life of that has grown into this giant thing that they have done together, and it's becoming very successful. So like I said to Paul and Tessa, congratulations on 2 seasons, because the third one hasn't happened yet, but congratulations on to 2 seasons at least with Everything Horror Podcast. It's definitely been a great podcast to listen to, not only to be a part of, but definitely to listen to, because I always catch myself listening to the podcast when I'm even at work, or if I'm just driving around. I'll hook my my phone up to the speakers in my car, and I'll just play the podcast. It's just an overall great feeling and great atmosphere to immerse yourself with, and I definitely see myself being a part of that for years to come. So that is awesome. So guys, real quick to talk about the podcast. If they want to find your podcast, where would they go?
Well, the main source would definitely be everythinghorror.podbean.com. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at EH Podcast. So EHPODCASTS.
Right. And what's this premium I hear about? Because I personally, even though being a part of it, I was thinking about subscribing with the premium. What does the premium get you? While we're talking about it, let's talk about that. What does premium get you?
So premium kind of works like this. Like I've from listening to other podcasts and stuff, they don't really give too much by how little you donate. So I kind of stepped it up a notch.
Mm-hmm.
For every $1 you spend, you're gonna get more out of the deal. Is the way I'm looking at it. So, example, not only are you gonna get like the exclusive premium episode, which is called Interkillin'. We named it Interkillin' because it thought it would be kind of cool, kind of like an intermission, but instead of intermission, it's Interkillin'.
Right.
So we're going to be talking about a lot of things. Hell, if you subscribe to it, we're going to be posting up information about upcoming interviews or episodes before the public even knows about it. So
right. That's a good thing. That's cool.
Yeah, but depending on how much you pay, like the first, like if you just spend like $1 a month on our podcast, then what that's going to give you is not only the episodes of Interkillin', but that grants you 1 episode to be on per month. So that $1 is like your 1 episode. Like
Right.
you're buying it. You're like, I don't want to sound it like this, but like you're pretty much buying a seat automatically to be a guest. Like I don't want to make it sound like that, but that's pretty much what it is. Like you're
Right.
guaranteed one episode a month with us.
Right. So
Um,
basically you have different types of tiers with the whole subscribing thing.
Yes.
So okay, which that's cool. That's cool. I like that because it's another way, guys, for you to be a part of the podcast. Maybe like not physically, maybe you want to give to the podcast because you enjoy what Paul and Tessa the content that they bring to the table and you want to support them. So they give you a different types of tiers that you can help support and you get cool benefits out of it. So I like that. That's a cool idea. That's another thing, guys, that's the perks of the podcast that Paul and Tessa have done. So that's another great thing.
Well,
so,
I can tell you a little bit more too. If
yeah,
you
go
want.
ahead. Yeah, by all means, go ahead. I want to hear. My goal here is to get your guys' names out there. So I want people I want people to understand what the podcast is about, and I want you guys to definitely go and check out the podcast if you guys can. So definitely take it not from my word, but from Paul and Tessa's.
All right, so you already heard about the 1 pint of blood. That's what it's called. So that's $1 every 1 month. But like I said, that guaranteed you whatever amount of episodes of Inner Killing. Like if we had 30 episodes of Inner Killing right now, you would get all of them for that $1 to listen to. So so not only that, but you're also granting yourself 1 episode a month to be with us. So no matter what we're doing, if you want to jump in on board with that episode, or even if you come to us and say, hey, I want to do an episode with this with you guys, you game? And I'll be like, yeah, I mean, why not? We're up to really pretty much anything. So so yeah, you can donate what is it? Oh yeah, so you can donate a $1. The other one is $5 every 1 month, and then what that does is that grants you 2 episodes per month. So instead of 1 with $1, if you do 5, you get 2 episodes now. Plus, you know, I don't want to keep saying it, but every time you get a premium, you're always going to get the Inner Killing episode, no matter what.
Right. That's good.
But so I guess the point of this is I want to show like what you're going to be getting, like for every dollar you spend. So organ donor is $5 every 1 month, but you're guaranteed 2 episodes with us a month. So another one we have is $8, and that's every 2 months. But this one's kind of tricky, but this is for people who love 8 Film to Die For, but we called it 8 Film to Die Fan.
Oh, okay.
So the idea of this is if you become an 8 Film to Die fan premium user, you're going to be on episodes for 8 Film to Die For, like those films. So we can talk about those. So anytime we start doing an 8 Film to Die For episode, that's when you're guaranteed a spot for us.
Okay. I like that. I like that. All right, so my next question is what episodes do we expect to see in season 3 that you would be willing to share with to let us know about? So I don't want to put the whole list of things you're doing, but give us maybe an example of some topics we'll be talking about in season 3.
Yeah, I'll let Tessa take it because I have something I can say too.
So an idea that Paul and I had come up with for season 3 is kind of like a Halloween
theme,
if you will.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know much about it, but please explain.
Our last 2 episodes of the season, right?
We got three more to do.
No, I mean for season 3.
Oh, last 2. Yeah.
The last 2 episodes that we're going to be doing is kind of like
I'll help explain this a little bit. So it's going to be released on Halloween, both episode 9 and episode 10. and one of them is going to be called Trick or Treat, and then the other one is...
The other one is going to be Halloween with Michael Myers.
Yeah, so kind of help fit the scene. But we wanted to do 2 because Trick or Treat is an amazing movie. Plus, Halloween, Trick or Treat, you do both. It's just a tradition.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And I wanted to bring this idea up to you. I meant to talk to you. I wanted to talk to you about it the other day, you and Tessa both. But I'll just say it now. I know because you have us as your guest, I was thinking I was thinking maybe like for one of the episodes, I was thinking maybe you guys would be willing to maybe kind of do like a kind of like a movie night thing, because I always do this movie night thing. I was thinking about watching a bunch of horror flicks, and I wanted to maybe possibly talk about that, you know what I mean, kind of help promote the Everything Horror podcast around the month of October with Halloween coming up. And I wanted to talk to you guys about that because I wanted to get your guys' idea on it. Like, I wanted to how we did like the charity, because we've already done a charity together, you know what I mean? And I was thinking maybe
we're doing a charity right now together.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, and we'll talk about the charity in just a second, guys. But yeah, I thought about the idea, maybe possibly like me doing, or you guys, or maybe doing like a horror movie night, you know what I mean? And maybe get maybe some people in, and maybe possibly having a podcast talk about that a little bit, maybe in a future podcast. I thought about that idea. I didn't know what your guys' thoughts on that, but maybe we can talk about that later on down the road. But
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I was just, and that's the cool thing, guys, about what Paul and Tessa have created. Not only are they wanting to create stuff for to entertain people, but you got people like me, Crystal, and Lamont that are throwing ideas as being just regular people that are on the show along with them. I mean, we're throwing out ideas too, so it's really cool because it's not only a Paul and Tessa thing. It's all of us as a group throwing out ideas and trying to make the podcast better. So definitely, guys. If you guys haven't, definitely go check out the podcast. Listen to an episode. Tell me what you think. Leave it in the comments below. I definitely would like to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Now, when it comes to... Now, here's the question I meant to ask you, because a lot of people have iPhones.
Before let me pause you for a minute. We can go back to that last question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I know Tessa was helping, and then I have a...
Oh, okay, yeah.
To that, too. So I'll repeat what Tessa was saying. So the idea of season 3 that we're going to be doing is on Halloween. You're going to be getting not 1, but 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be episode 9 and 10.
Right.
And for season 3. So the other ideas that we're trying to do is we're going to try doing something a little bit different, which Barry, I know we got to talk to you about it, but we're going to be having you host the Walking Dead episode.
Right. That'd be awesome.
But we also got Crystal, who's also going to be hosting an episode for her favorite serial killers. Yes, that's right, people. We're going to be talking about serial killers. Oh, real life one, too. So...
Yeah, no fictional shit.
No fictional bullshit.
Oh, and that's going to be awesome. Are you going to be, like, doing... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Are you going to be, like, doing, like... Are you going to be doing, like... With that one, are you going to be doing, like pulling up evidence that they've had, that they found? Are you going to be doing stuff like that, too? Like, are you going in full detail, like 48 hours? Like, are you pulling that off? Because if you are... I swear to God, that's going to be the best thing ever. I'm just saying.
If Crystal did do that, because she's hosting it, so she's pretty much getting everything prepared.
Yeah, our co-assistant, Crystal, is going to be leading that episode.
She's getting all the information for that episode. We're just here to help it, to help, get the information out, per se, help it, by asking questions and having her ask us, hey, you knew about this one guy, whoever she picks. I'm just going to say, for an example, maybe Crystal will put in H.H. Holmes.
Right.
Everybody should know who H.H. Holmes is. he's the first ever serial killer from Chicago.
Yeah.
Who had that house that with all the traps and dead end halls and like
trapdoors, passageways.
I hope she honestly, personally, I hope she talks about the Black Dahlia. I think the Black Dahlia killing was phenomenal.
Yeah, fucked up shit too.
And it was really gruesome, but it's like that. Those are things, guys. Like those are things. You know what I mean? Like that's cool stuff. You know what I mean? I like that idea. The whole serial killer. Yeah, it's gonna be episode like 48 hours, man. If you guys haven't checked out 48 Hours, you guys need to go watch it. It's a great show. Just saying.
Right.
I'm putting it out there like that. But yeah.
Yeah, and if you also haven't seen it, but Making a Murderer on Netflix or even like H.H. Holmes documentary.
Yeah.
I believe it's on Netflix as well. You might want to check those out too if you haven't yet.
Right. All right, so go ahead.
Hang on. The one last thing, last few things I'm gonna say is I'm gonna be trying to get a couple buddies of mine who I've grown up with and stuff for some cool things. Like I have a buddy of mine who I'm actually gonna be interviewing on the 26th, and we're gonna be talking about our old ghost experience that me and him had together at his old place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's gonna be that's actually gonna be the season 3 premiere, is that interview. So make sure you guys are following and whatever and get on board, because we're also going to be trying to share our favorite ghost stories, like real or fictional.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give a few ideas out for fictional, like scary stories to tell after dark or whatever it's called. Did I say that right? Scary stories to tell in the dark, after dark, whatever.
Scary stories to tell
in the dark or whatever.
Yeah, in the dark, yeah.
Yeah. And then we can also throw in nightmare soup. If you've ever heard of like chicken soup, there's a book now called Nightmare Soup. It's great.
Yeah, we can talk about urban legends like Don't Be Afraid of the Dark and stuff like that.
Yeah, like we're really trying to make it like a Halloween season to die for.
Right. And that's what that's awesome, man. I love that. My question to you was, while you brought it up when we were talking, I thought about it. I wanted to ask you before, is the interview with Bill, is that still in season 2, or is that season 3 episode that we'll hear out?
Season 2.
Season 2.
Okay, so that's still a season 2 thing. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, do you want me to talk about the season finale, what we have in mind?
Yeah.
Our season 2 finale episode that we are going to be doing is for the Agony game.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of gave that away just like the first season with our Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook profile picture. I mean,
yeah,
we kind of gave that away what the theme is for the season pretty much going to be.
Just like we did in season 1 when with our image in season 1, we used the image from Visage.
Right.
Show. It's kind of like a teaser or kind of like
hype or something.
A hype or
promotion or whatever.
Subliminal imagery, if you will, to give you guys kind of like a hint of what we're going to talk about at the season's end. So Visage was our first season. Agony is going to be our second season.
I actually did try to reach out to the people creating Visage before we actually did our episode, but I never got back anything. So they're probably just working hard on it. So
yeah,
right.
I mean,
it would be.
But yeah, I did want to throw it out there that I did try to contact them, but to no avail. Though I didn't get anything back. But they did like the tweet that I sent that I tweeted about that episode. So
right,
hopefully they listened to it and they enjoyed our little conversation.
I also, another episode I'm going to be really hyped up about when you guys actually do it is I want to get your take on Perception. I know you're still in the middle of playing that game, so I can't wait for the future when you actually when you do the episode for that. I really want to hear your thoughts are, because I've been I haven't picked up my copy of it yet, but I have been watching a lot of people playing it, and I know a lot of people have been like putting bad words against it, but the people that I've been watching playing it and their playthrough of it, they've actually liked it so far. So I can't wait to get your guys' take on it. So I like I
Yeah,
said,
right now I can't really say too much of if I like it or not because I've
Mhm.
only done one chapter on it. But from what I played, it is very, very interesting. And
Right.
Tessa watched me play it. So what did you think of Perception when you were watching it?
Well, it's definitely an interesting gameplay from what I've noticed, coming from the perspective of playing as a blind woman. Your protagonist, your main
Mhm.
protagonist, is a blind woman, and you have to use
Echo Vision, or how do they call it?
echolocation using your walking stick to
Okay,
tap
yeah.
around so that you can sense your surroundings. That's
Right.
how she sees, kind of, sort of, as she hears.
But but if you keep using your cane, you're gonna
Draw unwanted attention.
draw unwanted attention.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, and I don't want to anybody that's watching this. I don't want to get too deep into this conversation because I know there's a lot of people that if you haven't played it yet and you still are planning on playing it, I don't want to be no spoilers.
Kind
But
of like, not to interrupt you, Barry, but
go ahead.
example, like perception. You don't want to use your cane too much because it draws unwanted, attention, and then, like, the evil within, you don't want to use your lantern too much because it draws attention to you.
It's just like Paul, correct me if I'm wrong. It's just like Alien Isolation, right? Where you don't want to move around too fast. I think it was because it the alien can hear you.
Yes.
So it's like it has that that surrounding the where you wanna, it's very realistic, you know what I mean? It's like a very realistic thing. Like your actions will cost you in the end, you know what I mean? So, and that's what I like about that. So, but
Right.
okay, so anything else you guys want to talk about the podcast to get off your chest to put it all out there? Is there anything else you guys want to talk about the podcast to explain about
Yeah,
it?
we haven't really discussed about the off season. So off season is mainly for like me. Tessa had never wanted to do an off season of her own, but
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. We can maybe change that. But off season is pretty much like there's some days where Tessa doesn't get home from work until like 8 o'clock at night. So usually I'm stuck here for like
2 hours,
3 hours
3
or
hours.
so by myself with my thumbs up my ass because I don't like nobody's on or whatever. So I created the off season to kind of help kill that time, but while having a good time talking with like you or whoever about whatever subject. Like I believe the last time we talked, Barry, was for the charity.
Yeah. And that was the off season. That was the off season episode, right? I believe so.
Yep.
Okay. Right. Yeah, guys, and the off season episodes are phenomenal too. I enjoy those a lot because they're I know like you were saying before, Paul, Tessa hasn't really been a part of those, but you know what I like about it is it's another way for, it's like a one-on-one interview with Paul himself. You know what I mean? It's a way to sit down. Paul sits down and he has, we talk about things too. It's not really it's not fully like a full episode. They're not fully like the length of a regular podcast, right? They're usually shorter because it's an off season.
It depends, I guess.
I guess on the topic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I mean, what was it? When it was like when it was you, me, and Matt.
Mm-hmm.
When we were talking about would you prefer digital or physical?
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yep.
So
that was like a 2-hour podcast, right? Or was it like an hour and something?
Something like that.
It was close. Something. Yeah, it was a long podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one other thing about off season that kind of sucks too, because it's just like what would I want to talk about and who would be willing to talk about it with me kind of thing. So I mean, the whole would you prefer digital or physical? I mean, maybe it could have been like a regular episode, but in this case, it felt right to do it as an off season, I guess. I mean, would you agree with me, or would you think
Oh
it?
no, I agree. I agree with you because it's a topic. I think it was a topic that wasn't really you weren't really planning on bringing up. Like you know what I mean. It was just something you thought of, and because and it was something maybe you thought of when like somebody asked you, hey Paul, do you prefer a digital or a physical copy? And then you thought about it. Hey, yeah, let's get this idea out there and let's get the take on people and do a small little interview and a little podcast on that, which I like that. I mean, the small little, I like the fact, yes, the big episodes are cool, the main ones when we're talking about a game or a movie or a subject, and then all of a sudden you got these small little ideas and these small little things that hey, you don't want to disclude this because it's not a main thing. So you create this small little off season thing and you still talk about that. It's a great way for you to still find a way to talk about everything. You know what I mean? Which I like that. I personally do. I like that idea, the fact that you do the off season episodes. Um and honestly, have you thought about maybe your next off season, like off season that you're going to be doing next?
Honestly, no.
Oh, okay. Tessa might do one. Ooh, what Tessa gonna talk about?
I may do like an off season, maybe in season 3 or maybe season 4. I'll see how I feel, but
Off seasons can be sometimes hard because you don't want to like repeat yourself, and you don't also want to like go overboard with off season, if I may say. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Right. I completely respect that, and I like that. So my next question to you was because I know that you were talking about the podcast on Podbean. Is your podcast on iTunes yet?
It is on iTunes, yes.
Cool.
And it is marked for mature audiences and explicit.
Explicit content because we do
swear.
we do swear and we do talk about a lot of gory stuff that is not appropriate for you little minors out there, because we don't want your parents to boycott we don't want your parents to boycott what Paul and Tessa and all of us are doing. So I do like that idea. It is for mature audiences only. So
yeah, because I mean sometimes I accidentally let out the F-bomb like more than once.
Right. As perks being an adult, guys. You get to drop the F-bomb.
It's like my most favorite profane word.
I say that as my mother always says to me, she tells me the F-bomb is Barry's best friend. That's what my mom always tells me. The F-bomb is Barry's best friend. So I tend to agree with her sometimes, as much as I drop the F-bomb in everyday use. So, but yeah, guys. So, okay, so like I said, one more time, because I definitely want to talk about your guys' books and what you've done there. So one more time, where can people find your podcast again? And how's the best way to reach you when it comes to anything podcast related?
All right, so you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at EH Podcast. You can also email us at everythinghorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And for everything else, if you want to see a shitload of stuff, links and stuff, go to everythinghorror.podbean.com.
And I will definitely leave all those links for you guys in the description below. So definitely you guys can check that out. But yeah, guys, so that was Paul and Tessa's podcast that we were talking about. Now, part 2 of this interview was to talk with Paul and Tessa, because not only do they do the podcast, but they are also authors, and they have came out with their own books. Paul, I believe, has 3 out, 3 or 4. Already? Am I right? 3?
4.
He's got 4. Paul has got 4 out, and Tessa has just came out with her first one last year in what was it, October of 2016? So
Yeah.
Paul and Tessa, let's talk about your books. Paul, I would like to honestly, if you would like to, I would like to get your full story. I want to hear your story and where you came from, what led you to writing, and what made you fall with that passion and all this stuff. So tell me what made Paul Dulski become an author?
All right. Well, this is kind of funny because before this, I actually was doing a inner killing episode where I was actually talking about my books and music as well. So, um, so yeah, this is going to be quite funny. But I'll give a little bit more here than what I didn't give in inner killing episode. So sorry, inner killing people. My bad. Anyway, so I guess we'll start here. It was middle school, probably 7th or 8th grade. I don't even remember anymore. So I had a class called like the poetry tree,
Mm-hmm.
and that pretty much was almost like a elective type class. I don't really know the best way to put it. Like it wasn't like a normal class. It was like one of those like year-end study type bullshit or whatever. I don't really know. It was like a fun activity though.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, you could say I started there, and that was, I believe, 2000, 2001.
Oh wow, so you've been writing for a long time, for like 16 years.
About 16, 17 years.
Oh wow, okay.
But I didn't really get full on to writing until probably about 2003 when I actually wrote my, like, first what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like, not like non-school piece. You could
Right.
say.
Yeah, right. I definitely got you. Like pieces that you weren't writing in school and about everything you were handling or you were going through while you were in school, that type of stuff, right?
Right. Like Barry, here's an example. Like, I don't know how far you are in my book, but do you remember a piece? Did you ever get to a piece called "Come With Me"?
I believe I did. Right now I'm on page 155 with your story. I haven't got to read it yet, but it's called Burn. So I'm on 155 in your book right now. I believe I might have. What was the name of the story again?
Come With Me.
Come with me. I thought I saw something like that.
I'm trying to look for something because I swear it should be like right here in my face. Oh, yeah, there it is. All right, yeah, I can do it this way. I still have the original little books thing that my class made for us.
Right.
So yeah, it was spring 2000 when I first started to write, you could say. So, but anyway, so yeah, Come With Me, I'll explain that while I'm looking for it. So Come With Me was like my first ever piece written, and that was about a magical world where everything was free, no violence, like nothing really. Like
It was like the perfect paradise.
right, it was like the perfect paradise where I was a young kid wanting to grow up as like a lead singer or something.
Right, right.
But yeah, I mean, actually, I'm actually ahead of myself. Holy crap! So technically, Come With Me was not the first one.
Okay.
The bee.
It was called The Bee, which is actually going to be in my upcoming new book because I ended up finding that book that I didn't realize I had. So let me check the other book real quick. But anyway, yeah, it was pretty much like the perfect world where, like, as a kid, you know, I don't know who had not ever dreamed of becoming somebody famous like me.
Oh, I definitely do it. I still do it to this day, and every day when I wake up, it doesn't happen.
All right, and I just found it. So yeah, it's called Come With Me. Come with me to a magical world of wizards, magic hats, and cards. Everything you want to use. Watch people disappear and come back. Watch them do special tricks. Pull a rabbit out of a hat. You now have special powers. Do your tricks the way you want. The wizard will help. I create this special world for you. So yeah,
So,
I mean,
and that was and you wrote that what when you were while you were in middle school or sometime in school?
yeah. So about 7th grade.
Wow. So a lot of so the cool so my question to you was, are you? So I take it. I think you did answer it. So I believe that you're taking some of your old work and you are going to put it in your new book.
I found a new one, a new old one,
Mm-hmm.
and when I mean old, I mean like old as in like this is like 2000.
Wow. So like 17 years
So
ago.
this is back in middle school again, and
Wow.
this one is called The Bee,
Mm-hmm.
and I can actually premiere it on here if you want for
Oh
you.
yeah, go ahead. I mean, share with us. I would
Oh
definitely
yeah,
love hearing
so
you.
I will premiere a new piece, a new piece for you, and it's called The Bee, and this was done back in 2000, and you can kind of see I was really having way too much fun with this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, for people that know me back then and now, I talk about jokingly about like murder and like killing and stuff like that or whatever. I mean, I just joke with it. I mean, that's it. I don't really do anything about it. Like, I don't go out and murder people, is what I'm trying to say. But, and I just want to say that because when I read this, you're going to be like, wait a minute. This sounds like the Paul I know now.
Right.
Would be. So anyway, this is The Bee, and I hope you enjoy my first ever written piece that I've ever made. So it's called The Bee. Buzz buzz, said a bee. Then he flew into a tree. Oh gee, that guy is going to swat me. Buzz buzz, said the bee, as he stung him with his stinger right on the finger. The man yelled, ouch! And went home to sit on his couch. Buzz buzz, said the bee. He lay down to die slowly. Goodbye, said the guy, as his finger swelled to the sky.
I like that because it's like it's not just it's a fun. You definitely you brought the kid aspect into it with the bee and everything. But I could tell by the way you were reading it, you had so much fun writing that, and I like the fact that you rhymed it because a lot of the poetry that you write nowadays it comes from the heart and the stuff that you come from the heart. So you don't see a lot of the rhyming aspects of it, which I like
I
that.
brought it back in my third book. Actually,
Oh.
you'll see a lot more rhyming in the third book.
Oh well, okay, cool. I like that. I like that. That was cool. I enjoyed that. And how? Okay, so with somebody that wrote, so with somebody that just started writing and everything, when at that time, how hard was it to think of stuff? Was it easy or was it just kind of like things that you were kind of just coming to your mind at first and you were just jotting things down, or did you actually like not pay attention in class half time because you were in there deep thinking about poetry to write?
No, it took me a while. Like,
Did it?
because I wasn't used to it.
Right.
Like, because, you know, you're 7th grade, so that, or I mean, 2000, that's, yeah, that's 6th grade. Yeah, 6th grade. And, you're kind of just like, like, I'm not really used to this. Like, you know, because
Right.
maybe because I'm still young, wasn't really into, like, the whole idea of writing.
Right.
So, yeah, I had to learn. And then that's why, like, in 2003, I almost took like a 2-year heist, you could say,
Mm-hmm.
before I actually wrote my non-school ever piece, which was called "Fear of Death." I don't know if you ever read that one yet, but
I might have.
you probably should have because that was like 2003.
Right.
So,
I probably did. Like I said, if I passed it, I just don't remember the name of it.
yeah, that was weird. Like, I honestly don't even know where that came from. Probably from built up anger or some shit. I really don't know. I just remember like I think I still remember it. It goes something like feeling the drip of blood dripping down you as you cry for help. Fear of death will never stop, but the truth of death will end, or something like that. Like,
Right.
it's fucking weird, but just put it that way. Like, I don't even know what I was really writing in it, but I was trying to write something that wasn't school.
Right. And it, like I said, and no matter what, it came from the heart. I mean, and that's the perk of nowadays when it comes to writing, because I know so many of my friends that and I'm going to take it off topic for a second, but I know so many of my friends at school that, you know, they enjoyed writing. And, you know, I don't know if you lived this, or if, you know, or maybe possibly if you know somebody that lived this, but a lot of my friends that enjoyed writing and they would always keep to themselves, they got picked about it. They got picked on about it in school. And, you know, it was very hard for me at that time to see my friends, being picked on for something that they were very passionate about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you've ever experienced that. But I do know, my friend, actually, I don't know if I told you this, but my friend Emily, came over. She came over one day and we were talking, and I haven't seen Emily in years. Like, oh my God, I don't think I saw her since like ninth grade. You know what I mean? It's been years since I've seen her. And she was one of my friends that she really enjoyed writing. She was more of a love poem type person, but she had some dark past, like, of stuff going on with her family. But she also, even though she wrote the love poems and all this other stuff, she actually wrote some deep stuff that came from her heart, and how she was going through, kind of like some of the work that you've done and everything you and Tessa both have done through past experiences. And I came over, and the cool thing about it, I swear to you, we had like our own little own little book session. You know what I mean? We were sitting here talking, and we were drinking our Starbucks like the white side people we are, and we were sitting here talking. She was like, have you read, have you found anything? And we were talking about my son. I was like, you know what? I brought up to the fact. I was like, you know what? I will be completely honest with you. I have never found a author that I could connect with and I can relate to as much as I've been able to reflect on my friend Paul and Tessa's work. A lot of their stuff is personal stuff that they've gone through in their life and they've experienced, and the outcomes that have come throughout them writing and life, and how positive they are nowadays. And I can relate to a lot of that. And we were just talking, and I read her some of your work, and I even caught it at a couple times where we would be in full conversation, and she would just randomly grab your book off of my table, and she would just, as we're talking, she's sitting here just glimmering through your book, and she's reading it, and I see the passion, I see the excitement that she had from reading your book, because it got to a couple things of when I was talking about it. She's, yeah, I completely understand what you're going through, and it's really good to do this. And then I caught her at some points when she was glimpsing your book and hard into reading it. I would say something. She goes, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because she was hard into reading your story, and I caught her about it, and I told her, I was like, so, you're reading the book, how do you enjoy it? She was like, this is great work. And she was, I was like, I got to tell Paul this, and I don't think I ever got around to telling you, because we were too busy talking, but I wanted to send you a message like, hey, I just randomly.
All right, thank you.
And it's cool, because I wanna sit here, and I try to, I know like with my busy schedule, I don't really get to sit down anymore, you know what I mean, and read as much as I enjoyed reading as a kid. So I don't really get to.
That's why sometimes, like, when you've had a hard day of work, sometimes just sitting down, relaxing, not turning on the TV or anything, and just reading sometimes just helps relax as well. So maybe you could try that, because you know the saying, I just got home, I need 5 minutes to myself. So maybe that 5 minutes to yourself could just be that one poem that you read a day, even.
Right. And I've even caught myself. I mean, I've even caught myself. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be an interview, but I've caught myself, you know, putting your book in my car. And Tessa, speaking of your book, I actually just got your book back. My mom read through the whole thing. She gave it to me. So I can't wait to start reading your book now officially, since my mom gave me the book back. But she I find myself every once in a while, Paul, finding your book in my car. You know what I mean? Like, if it's just, if it's a bad day, you know what I mean? And it's a bad day, and everybody to YouTube, you know my struggle, you know my story.
Barry, did you just hear Tessa?
Oh, no. What did you say, Tessa? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, sweetheart.
I asked what your mom thought, what Mama Sky thought of my book.
Oh, she loved it. She loved it. There was stories in your book of the work that you wrote that she was talking about, and she was sitting there trying to get my take on it, and I was like, Mom, I don't think I'm that far ahead into that book yet to understand what you're talking about, but I love the fact that you love it. And I was like, so is this a sign that I could tell Tessa my mom's gonna buy your book, or my mom, you're gonna buy Tessa's book? And she was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely pick that up. And I was like, oh yeah. So she enjoyed it. She enjoyed it because I've never, and that's another thing I get that I like the fact that I can bring up, is the fact that my friends, it takes a lot to entertain me and to catch my eye, but it takes so much more to catch my mom's eye. So if I'm sitting here saying I love your guys' work and everything that you've done, and how much your work has changed my life and bared me into being the man that I am today, and for me to sit here and say, hey, I'm hard to please, and knowing my mom's harder to please, to know that you got my mom's word and saying she wants to buy your work and she loves everything that you guys do and the positivity that you bring with the work that you do, to hear her say that, I'm telling you, next year you guys are going to be bestsellers. I'm telling you, because my mom is the type of woman, when she likes it, that shit is at every dinner known to man. Like, anytime she goes out with her friends, or even if she's going out to get her nails done, she'll even talk about your guys' work. We went to Chipotle one time, and we sat next to it, and I was reading your book, Paul, in the middle of Chipotle while I was doing it, because we were talking, and I had a second. I was, you know what, I want to read this book. I want to read a couple things. And my mom had talked about, Tessa's stuff, and the lady next to me, she's like, your mom's really passionate about this. I was like, hey, look, let me tell you, this is my friend's right here. This is his work, and I let them read a little bit, or actually I didn't let them read it. I read out what I was reading to them, and so
reading out there to them.
well, if you got me reading out, like, the lady next to me was, I think she was like
no,
in her 70s, but
like, which one were you reading out loud to them?
Let me see. I think, if it comes to me right now, I think the one that I read out was, let's see, I believe it's Loved One. I remember that. It was Loved One. Version 1.0. Loving 1.0. Or it says right here, Loved One version 1.0. It says loving for someone is very hard, especially when it's about your family members. I've been there before, and it's hurtful. I lost my father, called Loved One. And the one that says, why God you took my father? I was gonna be with him when I was 18, so on and so on. So that was the one I was reading, and to hearing a 70-year-old woman saying, hey, that's beautiful work, you know what I mean? It was like, even
okay. Let me put some light on this as well, because all right, so the first version right there that you're reading,
mm-hmm.
that was definitely from my soul crying, because that was like a couple weeks after my dad passed, like 2 weeks, like for once my dad passed, 2 weeks after that, I bottled everything up inside me. Didn't speak to nobody, nothing.
Right.
Like, couldn't believe the one dude, like the one family that I was very close to, is now gone. and my family was was divorced at the time. So, you know, here I am in 1998, divorced family, and I'm living with my mother and my sister, which that doesn't really help because that kind of to me brought in like, oh great, now I got two females against me,
Right.
nobody can back me up.
Right.
So I didn't know who I was for the 2 weeks, and then that came out, and then that was 2003. 3 years after that, I actually did this version 2.0 of Loved One, and that is you can tell how much I've matured after 3 years of his death.
Right. Yeah, and that's phenomenal. I mean, I've even catch myself. I know I haven't got to I've only read like a little bit of Tessa's book, but I mean the thing that I like the most about your guys' work and how I relate to it is the fact that I feel like, honestly, and this is gonna sound
I actually have Loved One 2.0 right in front of me right now.
right. If you want to read that in a second, I will definitely let you read that.
Well, I was gonna say, if you want, you can read the first one first, and then I can read the second one, so that way people can see what I mean by after 3 years of that first one that you're gonna read, you're gonna see why I say the second version is more matured.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, continue, Barry. But yeah, I didn't want to.
No, you're fine, buddy. No, but what I was saying is, what I love the fact of the matter is, like I like I said before, Tessa, I've only been able to read a couple of your pieces due to the fact that my mom hijacked your book, but
Bye.
This guy.
We do love you.
Yeah. So yeah, Mom, if you hear this video, they love you. Just for the record.
Thank you so much for taking the time to read my work, and I'm glad that you love it, Mama Sky. And you'll be pleased to note I am working on a second book, so you'll have more to read.
There you go, Mom. There you go. To anybody, to my mother, to Mama Sky. I know you're gonna hear this. So, what have we learned today, Mom? We've learned to stop being cheap. Pull out your credit card and buy both Paul and Tessa's book, your own copy, because I enjoy reading them. So stop stealing my shit. I love you. Just for out there on the record. But back to what I was saying. Don't whoop my ass, Mom. But back to what I was saying. But yeah. So like I said, I've caught myself reading. You know, a little bit of Tessa's work and what I've read so far, and I love the fact that I catch myself. To anybody that knows my story and the sacrifices that I've went through and what I've lost, I have. I have this is gonna sound weird, but I've fallen in love with Paul's book because I find myself in, no matter what the situation is, it could be a bad situation, a good situation, a situation I'm not really comfortable with, or I'm not really sure about. I find myself always glimpsing at his book. I have my own bookshelf in my house, but I never really keep books next to me. And this is going to sound kind of weird, but
always keep that book near you.
I always keep Paul's and Tessa's book near me because I always find myself looking into their book, because when I'm doubting myself, or I have when I've been through a situation, or I have to face something, because I relate to them and I know them, like these two people right here that I'm interviewing, guys, these are family to me. They might not physically be blood family to me, but they are my family. And the fact that I can relate to stuff that they've gone through, and to get their take on it and how they've handled the situation, and to read their emotions in words, has helped me tremendously to make the decisions I've made, and to help me get past the stuff that I've been through, because like you guys know, everybody in here, to everybody that listens, losing my son was the worst thing ever, and I could not find myself to handle it, or to find the light through what I have lost and what I went through, and it's because of these two wonderful people in this chat, or that I'm interviewing right now. It's because of their writing and to their guidance and to their to them taking 5 seconds out of their time to help me when nobody else had to know that these two wonderful people took 5 minutes out of their time just to help me and to help point me in the right direction. It's phenomenal. And the fact that I can sit here today and interview these and to share the light that they bring, the light that they bring to the table, the fact that I can share that with you guys is the best feeling ever. So we're gonna take a real quick break on the discussion. I want to read something out of Paul's book. We were just talking about loved ones. If you guys haven't heard it yet, go pick up your copy of the Till the Death of Me collection from Paul Dulski. It's got all three of his books and all three of his stories that he's done, and all of his work that he's put in all three of those stories into one big book. Definitely go pick up yourself a copy today. I would like to take a second and to read Loved Ones for you guys, because I know Paul is going to read version 2.0, and I want him to explain what we read and help you guys understand. So this one's called Loved Ones, version 1.0. Loving for someone is very hard, especially when it's about family members. I've been there before, and it's hurtful. I lost my father, called Loved One. Why, God, you took my father? I was going to be with him when I was 18. Now I can't even see him for holidays anymore. You fucking bastard. Now, I'm asking you, take my soul. I love my father, and I cared for him more than any other person in my life. I did everything with him, and this is what I get after the hard work. God, you're an asshole. Well, take my soul. I want to be with my father once again. So that was version 1.0. Paul, would you like to read your version?
All right, so I just want to clarify one thing. So after version 1.0, I was in my last grade of high school as a senior, and I was in my English class, and I forget exactly the idea of like why I decided to do it, but it was like the final thing that I had to do for English class, which was write something that we believed in. Like pretty much, I think what was the key to do a 2.0 was because the teacher said write from your heart. I think she mentioned that, and I said, okay, I know what I need to do. And here is Loved One 2.0. I never saw your last breath when that day came to take you away from my heart, away from my life. I kept those memories you gave me. I cried when I thought of you. My Father and Holy Ghost of mine. Tears will never be the same, because I never saw this game. The game of sacrifice and regret. Wind of sadness come down and walk me to the cemetery with the stone carving of my loved one.
And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Now, and to know the loss that you went through, and to know how much your father meant to you. I couldn't even. I wish, Paul. All I'm gonna say on this situation is, you're telling me your father was a wonderful person. He was the brightest light you've ever met in your life, and he was the kindest person ever. Honestly, Paul, for somebody that's never had a father, I mean, I've had stepfathers, but for somebody that's never had a real father, I envy and I'm kind of jealous. I wish I was able to share the light that your father brought to you. I wish I was able to experience that with my own father. So I definitely can say, man, losing your father. even in front of everybody, I'm so sorry for your loss. And that piece that you wrote for your father was very beautiful. And it kind of, it's kind of, I don't know if this sounds kind of weird, guys, but hearing Paul read that, and even hearing me read his version 1 of Loved Ones, it might not be with my father, but when I think of that, I think of my stepdad. I think of my stepdad, but I also think about my son, and the light that my son brought into the world that I was able to share with him through his time here. And that's another example, guys, of how much Paul and Tessa's work I can relate to. It's every little thing, every little piece, every little story, and every little thing that I'm reading about in their books, and even the stuff that they read to me to this day that ain't in their books, I can relate to it, and I feel like, I can connect to that. And honestly, to anybody who's out there, to reading is, reading is, a lot of people, anybody can sit in front of a tablet, and anybody can sit in front of a computer and a phone and be mindless zombies. But the fact that you read it, I love the fact that you can read, because that's one of the greatest things that God has given us the ability to do in this world, and that is read and speak from the heart. I love those two things, because one, it's another way for you to get your feelings and your emotions and everything out there, but it's also another great thing to be able to read about somebody else's um um the things that other people have been through, and the fact that you can imagine and you can relate, because reading touches your heart. It really does. There's whatever you're reading, it doesn't mean if it doesn't matter if it's a newspaper, it doesn't matter if it's a book, it doesn't matter if it's whatever it is. Reading always finds a way to touch your heart, and it always finds a way to hit the emotions. And to Paul's book, guys, if you guys haven't picked it up, I definitely highly, like, I'm telling you guys, like, after you hear this, I'm like, you guys got to go pick up your copy of the book. Even if you don't want to buy the collector's edition, or the collector's edition that has all 3 of his books, pick up his first book. I promise you, after reading at least the first 5 poems and the first 5 of his stories in that book, I guarantee it will get you to read more, and I guarantee 100% that it will get you to go buy the rest of his books, because Paul has found a way to write and to touch people's hearts, and it's not none of this. It's not, some of his work is, you have that love passion, you know what I mean? It's that love in that you can hear it and you can read it and you can feel it, but it's not like normal poetry, guys. It's not like roses are red, violets are blue, I love you, blah blah blah. He goes deep, and it's like, I feel when I read Paul's books, and this is going to sound weird, Paul, so bear with me on this one for a minute, but I feel like when I read Paul's work, I feel like Paul is sticking his hand into my chest and touching my heart. That's kind of weird and kind of homophobic and kind of impossible if you really want to look at it, but it's how I see the situation. Like, his work has so much meaning, and so much, it affects you in such a great way. And the same with Paul, and the same with Tessa's stuff. I've only read a couple, but speaking of Tessa, I'm gonna, if she will allow me, I would like to read a piece out of her book in a few minutes. But yeah, guys, this is work. Paul, what can people take? Here's my question to you. What can people take from your reading, or not from your reading, from your work, from your stories?
Well, let's start kind of near the beginning of the, like, from what you were asking me, since you wanted the whole the whole story of my writing. So, like I said, I first started the non-school piece in 2003. So from there on, I was writing down everything that came to my mind, because at first I kind of thought I sucked, to be honest. because I was just like, I need to start practicing. That's what it's going to take me to write, is just practice, and I need to find inspiration. And then I got into heavy metal and stuff, and I started to read how certain artists or even poetry people were writing, and I wanted to take certain elements and try experimenting, and so that's what I started to do. But in this case, yes, you're going to see in my first book, like Barry's saying, if you pick up my first book instead of the collection, you're going to notice a huge difference in my writing. I forget what time frame though, so bear with me, but I want to say from the beginning of the book, you're going to be seeing like the childish stuff to 2003, seeing my work becoming like, I'm just, I'm teaching myself, like Gallery of the Dead, Fear of Death, oh man, what is that called? I was just looking at it earlier. Your Love is a Burning Fire, or Love is a Burning Flame, or something like that. Like, that's probably still one of my favorites. And
right.
And like, and then in 2006 came when I finally got done defeating a 6-month depression, very bad depression, to the point where I wanted to commit suicide. I even tried to commit suicide and failed. I had a very bad relationship breakup, which put me into the 6 months. But then my now favorite band, still to this day, Bleeding Through, put out their 2006 album called The Truth, and that is everything I needed to hear back in 2006. Every word that guy sang or screamed was everything I needed to hear. And then from that moment on, that's when I said, you know what? I need to heal myself by writing how I feel. I need to stop with the bullshit that I'm somewhat writing about just me, and I need to focus on helping people. So I believe from 2006 and on to even now, I kind of changed my way of writing to not just beat myself up, but to help others understand, you can't give up, never give up, and one day you will shine. And that's pretty much the way I took it.
Right.
So I guess to answer your question, I guess furthermore, which was what can people learn from my books? A lot.
Right. I think they can learn, that one lesson I think they can learn, and both from you and Tessa's book is life is short. Life is short, and life is also precious. And to anybody out there that has lost loved ones, and to anybody that that even if there's somebody in this world that means so much to you guys, hold on to that. You know what I mean? If you have your mom, your dad, your sister, siblings, girlfriend, somebody, me,
even your friends. I even wrote a poem for a guy who I really didn't know too much, but he was still a friend of mine. I mean, he lived in Massachusetts or another part of Vermont at the time where I am. I forget where exactly, but the point is, though, the fact of just me interacting with this new guy that I'd never met before back where I used to go camping, and becoming friends with him to a point of seeing my friend be sad over his loss of a friend, to me getting, I hate to say it like this, but to inspire me to write for him. That's in the book too. It's called Ryan, and that is about my friend's friend named Ryan, who died from a drunk driver.
Right. Right. So yeah, and I'm telling you guys, if you guys, like I said, guys, if you guys haven't picked up Paul's book, guys, he is a phenomenal artist. Or not artist, author. He's a phenomenal author, and you guys should definitely go pick up a copy of his book because I'm telling you right now, Mr. Dulski and Miss Baker, they both know how to touch your heart, and they know how. And the cool thing about them both is not only do they change lives in their books, but they also do it outside their books, and that's another great feature, and that's another great perk of getting to know them and being a part of having Paul and Tessa both in your life, is because you don't just get to feel feel what they say and how they express it with words. You actually get to deal with them and hear them in their own voice. So it's just a great way, guys. Paul, real quick, if people wanted to buy your book and they wanted to get their hands on it, what are the books? What's the name of the book? And what's the website that we can find your work on?
So I'll answer my book titles. If anybody want to know my book titles, the first book is called For the Brokenhearted. Pretty much, so people can get an understanding of each book of mine. The first book involved For the Brokenhearted, where pretty much like I was saying, like I experimented at first beginning in middle school to wanting to help writing for other people to know, like, it's okay, I'm here for you,
Right.
and that together I'm going to help you get through.
Right.
And that's For the Brokenhearted. My second book is called Haunted Nightmares. That is lyrics from when I used to be in bands. And I still you could say considered in a band, but it's like my solo project that I started back in the day, where it's called Darkness of Shadow. I haven't done anything with that in years. So the last thing I did do with that is a story called Her Love is Black, which is actually in Haunted Nightmares, and I believe also in For the Brokenhearted. So I didn't put it together, but if Barry would want to, I could throw him the track list that I had. So
Yeah.
that way,
Yeah, definitely throw me that, and I'll throw it in the description below.
yeah, and then that way, when you see the track list and when you get and read those parts, you're gonna understand the story better.
Right.
But yeah, pretty much that's pretty much how I also write. Sometimes I don't even write about my life and stuff. Sometimes I just create a story, and that's pretty much a good example that I can give is Her Love is Black, and that's just pretty much about this lady who destroys this male's life, but in the end, the male tries to destroy her, but it backfires.
Right.
But that's just my story. So Haunted Nightmares is pretty much about that. Just old band lyrics is the best way to put it. My third book was technically not even supposed to happen. The original idea was 2 books.
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, I started finding more of my old stuff. So I'm like, God damn. I'm like, at this rate, I'm going to have enough to start a freaking book, because like the minimum page length for a book is like 24 pages according to Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on, I started to write based on what I was finding of my old lyrics. So the third book became Enemy of Everything. And that's just because of what I found for the old stuff when I was randomly going through stuff. So don't don't take it as I just did it because of no reason. And then to best describe the cover of Enemy of Everything, that is me in a close-up shot in a bloody white tee, which is fake blood, by the way, which Tessa can get to in a minute, too. But I used that same shirt from a photo shoot that I did with Tessa, and pretty much I wanted it to resemble the fact that no matter what comes my way, I'm going to always be standing. It's pretty much the way I was trying to portray the bloody t-shirt by just standing. That's the way I was looking at it. And then, of course, you got what Barry has is the Till the Death of Me collection.
Right, and by far greatest amount. But buying a book, I can't remember how much I paid for your book, but I think it was like $30. Because I got the hardback, which greatest $30 of my life, and including along with Tessa's book too. But
yeah. But anyway, to finish your question too, so people can find my book on lulu.com, which is where you can where I found the ability to publish my book in hardcover. So my books are there. My books are also on Amazon. Or if you want to really support me, you can go to booksfromthesoul.bigcartel.com. And you can choose between a unsigned or a signed copy.
Right. And the cool thing about Paul's book, guys, also, in the collector's edition, I don't know about the other ones, but in the collector's edition, not only do you have all 3 of his books, but if you guys personally want to get to know Paul and to understand a little bit more deep down about his story and who he is and where he came from, there is a author's biography in the back of the book that will explain to you about who Mr. Paul Dulski is, the life he lived, and where he came from, and all this other stuff. So that's another thing too that you get with the collector's edition. You get to read about who Paul is and the type of man that he is. But yeah, guys,
so I'm gonna help you real quick with that. So yes, what you're saying is true. They are in the other books. I mean.
Oh, they are. Oh, see.
But for people who do buy the collection, there is a bonus about me that I'm still trying to figure out if I want to keep it that way or if I want to add it to my new book just because of the way my new book is becoming. But yeah, that's right, guys. You heard me too. New book. So yeah, I mean, maybe I might, but because maybe I'll feel more. Maybe it might feel much more special because of the fact that it is called Till the Death of Me collection. So I did make Till the Death of Me biography twice, because the first one I called it Till the Death of Me, The Darkest Hours of Time is the first one. And then with this collection, I called it Till the Death of Me, Finding the Light.
Right.
And that Finding the Light is pretty much the continuation from the first one.
Right. So, yeah. So okay. So my next question for you, my last question for you, Paul, is, we have all of your books. We have the collection. Can you give us kind of a timestamp? Maybe not a full timestamp. Can you give me a timestamp possibly when the new book we might be able to get our hands on that new book?
Right now, you can actually go to booksfromthesoul.bigcartel.com and you can actually start pre-ordering your copy right now as we speak, whether it be paperback or hardcover, because I am going to be doing paperback and hardcover again. And we are shooting for a October release.
Of this year or next year?
This year.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So hopefully sometime around before Halloween or around Halloween, we'll be able to get our hands, guys, on that new fresh copy of Mr. Paul Dulski's work. But yeah, guys, so she's been here the whole time. She's just been very quiet because me and Paul have been talking. Let's get to our second guest of tonight, and that's Miss Tessa Baker. Tessa, how you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing pretty good, Barry. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm here talking about your guys' amazing work. So let's get into your book, Vision Sterling's of a Witch's Heart, from Tessa Baker, guys. Let's talk about your book, Tessa. First off, let's talk about who you are and where you came from and what brought you into what made you start writing.
Well, my mom, Mickey Baker, she also writes. She's an author. She hasn't written anything in a long time, but she did happen to put a piece in my book, a brand new piece. So I guess my original curiosity for poetry came from my mother.
Right.
I always felt like my mom's pieces were so beautiful and they were written from the heart, and I felt like they touched people, and I wanted to be like my mother, but I found a hard time finding the correct words when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very emotional person by nature.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very big heart, but I also tend to take things that hurt me or bother me, and sadness. I used to be the type of person where I would take it and I would bury it inside me, and I would hold on to it, and to the point of it feeling like it was suffocating me and stealing my very breath. I started to experiment more with writing in high school,
Mm-hmm.
in a creative arts class. And then I stopped writing. I stopped writing for about maybe 5 or 6 years, and then my father, Donald H. Baker Jr., passed away from lung cancer in May of 2012, and that devastated me, and it shook me at my very core, and it did something to me. Like, I went from like this, like, full of light, happy, nothing in the world, nothing in the world
can stop you or break you. Exactly.
Yeah, nothing can stop me and break me down, like unstoppable force, to just completely and totally destroyed at the loss of my father. And
right.
And I felt so incredibly lost, because the only man that I felt that ever loved me throughout my entire existence in life, thus far to the point, was gone.
Mm.
The very man that protected me, kept me safe, taught me everything I knew, was my confidant and my person to run to when nothing in the world made sense, was gone. And I had such a difficult time coping with that I just completely shut down and withdrew inside myself and sunk into this darkness.
Right.
And I was just engulfed by it. And in a lot of my pieces in my book, I talk about that darkness and what it did to me and what I felt. And I talk about a lot of other things like hope and loss and love and, you know, heartbreak and everything. I talk about it all in my first book. And I also did something that I never thought that I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Was to let it all out. Everything I had stuffed.
Yeah, it's like you bottle all that stuff up inside you over the years, and then all of a sudden you.
And the one person that got me to do that is Paul.
Right. Right.
Like Paul and I, we met through our mutual friend Allison. A lot of people know the story, but for those of you that don't know, Paul and I, we met through a mutual friend, Allison.
Mm-hmm.
Paul was doing a Faces of Death shoot with Allison and promoting his one of his books. And I was coming to meet Allison as a new client, a new model to do a photo shoot, and I had met Paul there and wound up being part of his shoot as his murderer. And so Paul and I, we became friends after that. And as time went on, a 6 month time span, Paul and I got really close and became best friends. Like, we were there for each other. Like I would check on him every day. I would write him, message him to make sure that he was okay, that he was still breathing, anything to show him that he mattered and that
he had somebody out there that cared about him.
That I care about him and that he's not alone and that, you know, I'm always here.
Right.
And as the 6 months went on, we got closer and closer. And one day we decided to see each other again, like 6-7 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this spark.
The spark of light, the spark of the happiness. You saw all that happiness that was right there.
There was just something between us that we couldn't exactly explain at the time, but there was just something about each other that just made us come together and want to be something more than what we already were. And we, you know, we decided to, you know, after seriously talking about it, that we wanted to be together. Right. So Paul is the person who got me to open up, to write, and to do this book. He had a lot to do with this book. So without him, this book would not be possible because, like I said, he's the only person that got me to open up about my feelings and say, well, you should write about this. You need to let it out. You know, your writing is beautiful and it should be read and it should be seen. And, you know, so Vision Stirrings of a Witch's Heart came to be with a collaboration between Paul and I. And he loves my writing, the way that I write. It's different from his own. It's kind of like a yin and a yang type of deal.
Yeah, you guys are perfect for each other. Like, whatever, you know, you guys, he writes a certain way, but then you write a certain way, and it's like it equals out. It balances everything.
Yeah. So like we write in a yin and yang kind of way. Sometimes a lot of his work is a lot darker than mine, and my writing is sometimes more lighter than his, and we balance each other out in that respect, even in real life.
Right.
But when you can actually find someone who not only you can be yourself with, but can bring that light out of you, no matter how dark of a place you are in, that to me is a soulmate. You know,
Right.
and
Right.
so so
I like
I'm trying to
word this.
but so I don't.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, like I said, I've known Paul for years. I've known Paul. I haven't known you for years, but I've known you long enough. You know what I mean? I've known you long enough to know that, hey, you know, you're definitely a massive light, and with everything you do and how you handle situations, you know, and I love that. I love being around you guys. You know, I definitely look forward to every day when I get off work, you know, coming home and not even mostly playing a game, just have a conversation with you guys, because I know the way that you guys handle situations, how you talk to me, and how, you know, you guys, no matter what, you know, no matter what happens, I've knowing you, Tessa, I've learned with you, you're the type of person that, you know, if I needed advice at 3:30 in the morning and you guys were dead asleep, I know that the type of person how you are is I could call you at 3:30 in the morning. You'd give me you would take 5 minutes, even though I just woke you up and you want to strangle me, but you would take 5 minutes just to help me. That's what I take from you, and I take that from you, and I really I love. That's one of the things I love about you the most, is because of the fact that how caring you are, and how much and how big your heart is, and how you actually and how you like to make a change and express your feelings to people. I love that the most. Um, but yeah, so
So to not to cut you off, but
mhm,
while I have this thought in my head,
mhm,
so pretty much after I lost my dad,
right,
I like throughout my whole life, I'm the type of person that I am willing to sacrifice myself for the sake of others, for their happiness, to make them happy, and put myself, in the matter of speaking, on the back burner. I did this for a very long time, and until I learned from it that you can't do that with everybody, because a lot of people will take advantage of your good nature and abuse it. So, um, so I've become wiser in that sense, but I'm still the type of person that, like you said, if you're upset about something, if something is nagging at you and you need to talk and it's 3:30 in the morning and I'm asleep and I don't give a shit, I would expect you to call me and be like, "Hey, Tess, I know it's really really early in the fucking morning, but can I please just talk to you?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, sure, buddy. What's on your mind?" You know, I'm just that type of a person. I care more about people.
right, right, and that's an amazing thing. That's a great trait to have. When that's a great trait to have in this world nowadays, because I feel like so many
Not
people,
enough of it.
there's definitely not enough. There's so much darkness in this world. A lot of people, I know a lot of you guys are probably like, "Oh no, there's plenty of light now." There's more darkness in this world than there is light. And to have two people in this world, Paul and both Paul and Tessa, that are such uh bright people, and their personality and who they are is such a light. You know, to have them into this world, guys, it's phenomenal. Um but I know, guys, I know Tessa has a piece that she wants to read for you guys. But I would like to read a piece from Tessa's book, a piece that I enjoyed a lot. This has to go back with her her dad, with her losing her father. And the story is called it's Missing You from her book. I this like I said, this was another story that to you guys, that if you guys knew who I was and what I've went through and what I've lost, this was another story that I was able to sit down and read that I was able to relate to. So this is from Tessa's book, Vision Sterlings of a Witch's Heart, and this is her story called Missing You. I dreamt you were still alive and well. When I woke up this morning, I learned it was just a dream, that you're gone. Years have passed now. Through some days it feels like it was just yesterday. Tears fill my eyes, remembering that day when you had to leave. I wouldn't wish you back. I wouldn't wish you back to suffer as you once did, no matter how much you're missed. I would have just given everything to save you. As I sit here and I write this, my heart aches. My heart still remembers you each and every day. I carry you with me. You're in my thoughts. I wish there was a way you could have been saved. I know you're in a better place, no longer suffering. We're all missing you here. A piece of us went missing with you. When you had to leave us. Oh, how I miss you, Daddy. And that story, guys, like I said, like Paul, or not, like Tessa said earlier, she lost her dad, and she was, her father meant the world to her, and to sit here as somebody that has lost something in someone and people that they've cared about, to sit here and to be able to relate to that, and to know, hey, no matter, your heart is always gonna ache, guys. You're always gonna be upset because you can't save the ones that you loved, and you think it's not fair because they were taken at the worst time, and it's true. They didn't deserve to go, but as my mom, I'm gonna quote my mom on this one. As my mom has always taught me, when somebody goes, you can't save them. That God takes people when it's their time to go. It's their time to go. But when they go, guys, they don't leave you empty-handed. They leave you with memories and the life lessons that they have taught you. And just because their physical body and their physical form is gone, their spirit and their heart is always with you through those memories and through those life lessons that they have taught you. And to sit here and to listen to read Tessa's work, and to the stuff that she writes about her father and to her family and to personal things, and to the parts that I can relate to this is beautiful work, guys. And just know, and Tessa can help me with this one too. Just know, no matter what happens in life, guys, there's always somebody, and there's always a way to handle things. And yes, you might handle things in a way that, you might be aggressive, you might be quiet, you might just, you don't know how to handle your situations, you don't know how to handle the what happened. Just know that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always a way to come out of darkness. As the title of tonight's as the title of this episode, guys, is shining through the darkness. This is, no matter what life has led us and where it's led us, and what life has taken from us. Like I said, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, or in the darkness. There's always a light, and you just gotta. Sometimes you don't know how to walk to that light. You don't know how to get to that light, but just know the way you do that is by the positivity in your life. Don't ever think negative. Don't ever let anybody in your life that is negative around you. You want to keep yourself positive, and you want to interact with a positive role model and a positive life and people. You want to do that, and that's the way you get through the darkness. and towards the light. So to sit here and to listen to even you can even hear it in me, to even sit here and to read that short story for you guys, it's got me thinking a lot about my son and my fiance that I lost, and it touches me to know that, you know, you're never going to forget about those people. You're never going to forget about those loved ones. But these two books, guys, that I have right here, these are like my holy Bibles. These are the books that I go to. These are the books that I can relate to, and these books mean everything to me. So, like I said, to Tessa, like I said to Paul, my heart goes out to you for losing your father. I really do. It really does, more than you can ever know, because I know how much your father meant to you with the short time that I've known you. And I know how you've told me how it affected you, and to see, and I'm really glad to see that, you know, Paul is your light, and that Paul has been able to bring you back from that darkness. And it's really good to hear, to see that you found your forever. um but let's talk about a little bit more about your book. So what can people expect from when they read your book? I know I asked Paul that, but I would like to ask you that too, because I know you're more of a light person with your writing. What can people expect if they were to read your book?
This book is a series of compilations of my emotions
Mm-hmm.
at its rawest form, which is something outside of my normal comfort zone when I first started it, but I've grown quite a bit since then, and I'm
Right.
more open to expressing.
Right.
But this book, it takes you through my life over the last 4 or 5 years of my life. You will see my life as if you were looking through my own eyes.
Right.
You'll feel my pain. You'll feel my sadness, my anger at certain points, and then you'll see the light that comes from finding your light, your forever, the person that saves you from your darkness and your demons, which is exactly what Paul did.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I try to convey and show in the best way possible just how much he truly does mean to me, and how much he has impacted my life and what he has done.
Mm-hmm.
And he really, like, both of us coming from darkness, from losing our fathers who were the most important men in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
to being sucked up in that darkness, to then finding each other and reaching out and finding light within that darkness is something that I personally didn't think I would ever find. I honestly never thought that I would find someone whose soul is so, what's the word I'm looking for? So
Perfect.
close to my own, and
Mm-hmm.
so perfect, like, in a way that we just mesh and we just click.
Right.
And like Paul and I, like, if like you could, like Barry says, you can notice it in how we talk and when we game together and stuff like that. But if you actually really could see us together in person, you can see that chemistry and that fire, and it's something that's truly incredible, and it's something that shook in me at my very core, but in a good way. Like, it's like when I lost my dad and I went into that darkness, and I was in that darkness for 4 years roughly, and the only person that pulled me out of that darkness is Paul. Like, he actually, when he would speak to me and he would tell me, it's okay, everything's going to be all right, you know, just let it go, I'm here, I won't let go of you, I will never leave you. I believe his words.
Mm-hmm.
And the first man in my life since my father, I actually believe his words. And I, like, everything that he says and does is
and
done is genuine, and it's real. It's not fake or bullshit. It's love. Everything that he's ever did, done, or does for me is out of love. And what I have with Paul, I have never had with another being on this planet, and I never want to. It's something that I strictly want with him forever.
Right. And for me, another reason why I relate to your guys' books is because I know you guys. So it's like, and to see your guys' relationship, the type of connection you guys have with each other, it reminds me of a lot with me and my fiance, with how much we were that yin and yang for each other, and how we were just so perfect together, and how we acted. And she literally, like, completed me, honestly. Like, I feel like, she was just that balance that I needed in this world, because the type of person I was when I was a kid, I was very kept to myself. I was a troubled kid, who always blamed others for his actions, and I wasn't a positive role model in the society. And I never thought that, hey, I was gonna fall in love and all this other stuff until that day that I met her. And it's not like, it wasn't like one of those, hey, my name's Barry, nice to meet you, to those types of things. It was, hey, you get that feeling of when you first meet somebody, and how much they take your breath away, and you haven't even said two words to them. That's how it was when I first met G, and she meant so much to me, and she brought the best out of me. And it was just phenomenal. And when I see you two, it reminds me of that, and it's just so beautiful to be around. Not only to be around just for gaming aspects and all stuff, just to be around in general. Like I said, you guys, and like Tessa was saying, guys, to everybody that doesn't know them, when we're all gaming together and we're all playing games, it's one thing. But when you sit here and you physically have these conversations, and you get the experience who they are, right then and there, and the type of people they are, it's phenomenal. It's the greatest feeling ever, because there's just something about their aura, and there's just something about who they are, that they're like me. They're the type of person where they don't care who's struggling, how struggling. They're the type of person, they'll give somebody their last $20 just to see somebody happy. And that's the type of person that I am, and they've seen that. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're just such good friends, because our hearts are pretty much all in the same category and same path in life, and the same thing that we all have pretty much the same agenda of what we want to do every day when we wake up. So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, to experience that, and to experience that type of connection that that I've been blessed to have. But I know real quick, Tessa, before we forget, Tessa did bring a piece. I believe she brought a piece that she wanted to read for you guys out of her book. I'm gonna let her read that and let her explain the pieces she's reading. So, by all means, Tessa, go ahead, take the wheel.
All right, so I'm gonna read a couple of pieces actually, but one of the ones I'm gonna read first is gonna be one from my first book, and it's written. The piece is about Paul and I, like our bond, our unique bond to each other, and that even when I was in the darkness, he reached in and he pulled me out of it. And even when I felt like my light was going out, he believed in me enough and, pushed me to believe that I was this light and that I needed to burn again. So when I emerged from the darkness, I actually became a beacon of light, burning brighter than I've ever burned before. So this piece is also one of my most famous pieces on Instagram. It got 106 likes.
Right.
Five of which are friends and Paul, and then the other 101 are just people out there in the world. People that I don't even know, and they loved it so much. So let me see. Here it is. It's called Soulmates. Once her eyes connected to his, their souls caught fire. His heart spoke to hers of familiarity and devotion. Their souls danced together as if they have known each other forever, like they had become lost and found in each other's eyes. And when he uttered her name, the most beautiful thing she has ever heard, the sound of his voice quieted her mind. Holding her in his arms, the most peaceful place she has ever known. Her hands taking hold of his face as she stared into his eyes with such adoration and devotion. They had found each other amidst all the heartbreaks, regrets, mistakes, and chaos of their lives that they had endured. And in the center of it all, they each found someone worth braving that all for. And suddenly, in that moment of discovery, it was all worth it. The journey to finding each other was worth it, for they are each other's soulmate.
That's beautiful. And you said that was relating to you and Paul, right?
Yes, I wrote that about Paul and I and our bond.
And that was beautiful. That really was.
And 106 people on Instagram loved it. So it's like my most successful piece that I've posted up on Instagram.
All right. And that's another, guys, it's not just personal things that they've gone through. Like the you can see by the two interviews that you guys can see by the different types of reading, the two types of people they are, and their writing is just like Tessa says, the yin to the yang. Paul had more of the dark side because of what he went through, but then you have Tessa, even though she went through stuff, her writing's more of a light situation. So you can definitely tell that there's a difference between the two types of writing that they have. It's all coming down to the same concept, same type of lesson they're trying to push out, but it's being said in two different ways and in two different meanings. So that's a great thing, guys. That's a great thing about these two, both of these guys' writings. It's just it's perfect. It really is.
So so if you would like me to continue.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Continue with you. You have the mic right now, so go ahead. This is all you.
probably going to read a couple pieces from my new upcoming book.
There you go, Mama Sky. Here's a little taste.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you go,
yeah,
Mom.
Here you go,
Mom.
Mama Sky. A little taste of what's to come. So, one of the first ones I'm going to read is called Daddy. My heart was broken and darkness was invited in when you died. I became lost within when your light went out, my protector gone. Years had passed, and it seems no matter how hard I tried to swim to the surface, the darkness pulled me down further into its depths. I find myself still waiting for you to call, but no calls are received from you, and sadness overwhelms me. I felt that I would be forever stuck in this hell where I am all alone and no one to care for me. So he came and brought new light came into my life. I feel you have guided my steps that led me here, put me on the path that I was meant to, even when you put me on the path that led me to my soulmate. You guided me. I miss you, Daddy, and it shows when I am reminded of the day that you were taken away. My heart sinks, and for a moment the darkness reaches out for me again. The light he shines when he takes a hold of me in his arms, and when I remember you, sends the darkness away and tells me I'm okay and that everything will be all right. For the first time since you, I believe him and I believe his words. I know you watch and still in your protective role even now, since your soul watches over me. I feel you with me, even though I cannot see you. I know you are here.
And that's in your new book, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, guys. I'm the host here today, and these two are just. I'm telling you, man. They get into my feels. They get into a brother's feels, man. Cause this is the type of work that I was telling you guys about, of how much I can relate. I mean, to normal people, to anybody, anybody can sit there and say, "Oh yeah, that's good work," but to sit here and to listen to somebody read to you about some stuff, and then you can just sit there and you can feel the emotion, you can feel that tension between what's being read to you, and even read to you or what you're reading. It's a beautiful feeling, guys. It really is, because right then and there, I'm thinking the same thing. That one, on what she read, I didn't think of my son and my fiance that time. I thought more of my mother, and the type of woman she is, and how she means the world to me, and the type of light that she brings to the table. And I thought about that, and that's the type of thing. You're not just gonna think about the same thing over and over again. You're gonna think about everything, guys, and how you can relate to that. And it's just so beautiful. And Tessa, what was the name of that piece?
Daddy.
That was called Daddy, guys, and that is coming into her new book, that she will be coming out with. So, is there another piece you want to read, or?
Yes. You heard this one the other night, Barry, but I'm going to read it again so that Mama Sky can hear it from my own mouth.
And
Okay.
would also be known as a world exclusive, pretty much like a coming out.
Yeah, it's like a world exclusive. Nobody's heard this but me, guys.
Yeah. So this piece is called Love. I will weather any storm with you that comes. Any trials and tribulations that should arise to try to drive us apart, we will rise above them. Become stronger with time, building more from the foundation that we have constructed. I will be the light that helps guide you, sheltering you from onslaughts with my love and light to burn away the darkness that rises. Mend you where you are still broken, love you more where you ache. Kiss any of your emotional wounds that you may still have, healing you with my love. Our love outweighs hate. Hold on to me and I'll never let go of you. I'll fight for you every day, fight for us, protect what we have because it is worth protecting. I'll never give up on you or us. My love for you won't ever falter. It burns like an unextinguishable fire, unceasing and unending.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that one's called Love.
Yep.
And to everybody, like I said, if you guys didn't hear, that is an exclusive. Nobody's heard that yet. And that's to come in the new one, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's for a second let's talk about your new book, Tessa. When, what type of writing should we expect in the new one? Are you doing anything different? Is it gonna be the same kind of as the book you write that you but the book that you have out now?
This book it's going to be a combination of light and dark. It's going to be pretty much exposing the light and darkness of my soul and putting like pen to paper in a matter of speaking. So it's more of me coming to terms with the light and the darkness within me and accepting it as a balance, because light cannot exist without darkness, evil cannot exist without good, so on and so forth. So it's gonna be like a combination of both light and dark elements. You're gonna see, well, both sides of me, I guess, in a matter of speaking, which I usually try to hide the more, I guess, darker aspects of myself. But in this book, I'm actually going to expose certain elements of it and bring it to light. So it's a growing experience.
Right. And definitely it's definitely going to be it's going to be I can't wait for it. I can't wait for the new one. And I know my mom can't wait for it. And to anybody that wants to get your hands on a copy of Tessa's books, right? If you guys want to get your copy of Tessa's book right now, Vision of Sterling's of a Witch's Heart. Tessa, real quick, why don't you tell people where they can get a copy of your amazing book, so people can understand?
You can either get my book on Amazon,
mm-hmm.
or you can also get it on my store, which is witchespoetry.bigcartel.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Right.
I also have an Instagram page, which is I have my personal account, which is WolfQueen1313, and then I have my Witches Poetry store for my other Instagram account. So
right,
you can find me on there.
Right. And like I said, guys, and as always, I will definitely be leaving all the contact information along with both the links to both the stores that you can buy your copy of both Paul and Tessa's book. Guys, real quick before I know this video is coming to an end in a minute. Real quick before we do, I want to
Barry, not to interrupt, but one more thing, but there's something that Paul and I want to share with you before you bring the interview to a close.
Well, I was about to ask you that, but I wanted to real quick, Paul, before I forget, I wanted to get your take on something. I wanted to ask you personally. Guys, real quick, I know Paul and Tessa they're gonna explain their thing before we wrap this up. But there is one more piece to Paul's book. And before I read this piece, guys, this is just how it comes back to what I was telling you guys before. You can always relate, and this piece, to anybody that knows my and G's story, also to the people that know the dark times that occurred before I lost her. I want to read this real quick story in Paul's book, if I may, if you will allow me, because this I can relate. I feel like I can relate to the dark times before and how I felt when I lost my fiance. So this book, this piece in Paul's book is called "To the One I Love," and I want to get Paul's at both Paul and Tessa's. I want to get a piece from them in a minute and their thoughts on this, and maybe if they can give a lesson for you guys real quick. This one's called "To the One I Love." I watched you come, I watched you go, but I never got to say I'm sorry for. Each day has another loss. To all the days we shared, I'm sorry for the way I am. I never meant to be so empty. And as I watch you fade away, I see the one I love, suffocating by emotions that can never be fixed. And I want you to know I loved you from the start, and I wish I could heal you. And if I don't hold you, I shall break into eternity. I waited this long to spill what I have to say. Time ticks away the moments, and I hope you see where I'm going, because I love you and I know you know. But I want you to be happy with me, and if I hear those sweet words come out, I will heal myself as well as you. You're the one I love, and I would dance till the moon doesn't shine, but the birds will sing till the end, because I want to carry your spirit. As long as I am alive and missing you, I'll be the one by your side to love, because I'm writing this to the one I love. And that, guys, to anybody that doesn't know my story, my story is it's very simple. I once years ago I once had somebody that I was engaged to, and we got to bring a light into this world, and I unfortunately lost both of those lights to a to a car accident. And my story goes as I was very, like I told you before, I was a very different person. I wasn't a good role model into society. I was never a criminal, but I was never a good role model into society until the day I met G. And like I said, I was scared. I didn't know what to do, and she changed me. She changed me, and she made me a better man, and I fell in love with that. Like Paul and Tessa, they both have been through a lot to know that they have come together as one, and they found each other, and I know that they are going to spend eternity with each other because they love one another. And that's the same type of love that I had with me and my fiance. But I will say, once my son was born, that connection that we had, it faded away, due to me working all the time. Bad times. There was a bunch of bad times that were made between me and my fiance, and she went down a path that I couldn't follow. And to Paul and Tessa, I think I'm pretty sure they know what I'm talking about. Um, and Paul, I wanted to get your take real quick. Can you explain where that piece came from, and can you explain can you help me to understand what you were talking about in that, and like I said, where it came from?
Man, you're the one I love. Yeah, I definitely remember writing that. Do I remember when and stuff? Not really, because I've written so much. But from you reading it, though, I think it was one of those days where, like, where I broke down because his thoughts came into me, and he's no longer here, so I felt empty.
Right.
And we all get that random day. It could be at work, it can be at home, wherever the fuck you are. I don't even mean to put it like that, but it's just true. Like
It is. It's 100% true, guys.
it doesn't matter where you are. You're gonna sense them, and if you don't believe in spirit, then I'm sorry. Then I don't know what else to tell you, but they are always with you. And sometimes when you start feeling sad, you need to understand that they're just watching you. They're probably touching you as I'm even saying this, but I mean, when you start feeling sad, it's probably because you can sense them. You can sense that they're sad too, because they are trying to reach out to you, but they know that you can't physically feel them like you would if they were still here. And I think that's how I wrote it.
Right.
Because near the end, what was the final paragraph, Barry, again?
The final paragraph to that was you're the one I love, and I would dance till the moon doesn't shine, but the birds will sing till the end because I want to carry your spirit. As long as I'm alive and missing you, I'll be the one by your side to love because I'm writing this to the one I love.
Yeah, so you even though you're sad, so the dancing to the moon part is pretty much saying like you're crying but you're happy, like it's a happy cry.
Right. It's not one of those emotional. Hey, I'm miserable in my life because I miss you. It was like a good memory type thing.
Right, because there's another piece of mine called "Taking Salvation."
Mm-hmm.
And
I think I've read that. I think I've read that.
there, that's me talking about my dad again,
Mhm.
but this time it's me trying to say, "Hey, I know you're still around here, Dad, and I'm gonna sing these words with you, or you're gonna sing these words with me." Pretty much,
Right.
pretty much taking salvation is pretty much trying to say like, even though my dad is gone, but he will still be here singing these words with me.
Right. Right. And that's all you, like I said, guys, that's all you can take from that situation. I just wanted to share with you guys that piece because as I was sitting here talking and listening to Tessa and her story and everything, I was glimpsing through both books. And I found that piece. That was the piece that I wanted to bring up to Paul earlier, and that was the piece that I wanted to originally read because I remember reading it, and it was a beautiful piece, and it definitely thought about the good times, but it also thought about on a couple of those things. Thought about some stuff that happened between me and my fiance. So I wanted to share that piece with you guys, and that was another piece that to give you a little heads up of another type of piece that Paul has wrote and to another meaning. But I don't want to bring into dark times on this about what I can relate to that, but like I said, I
Barry,
just
what
wanted
you can share, because I was going to bring this up too, but when you're ready, when you want me to take the final stand with the final piece that me and Tessa are going to actually both be reading,
to.
because when I wrote this, I wanted Tessa to be a part of it too. So,
Right. Right.
not only are you getting my perspective in this, but you're getting Tessa's as well. Because I'm trying to remember what I even told you about, like what I wanted you to do. You remember? Like I wanted you to read what I wrote, but I wanted you to also make it not just about us, but for others.
Yeah, you wanted me to portray it in a way that it would
Guide others.
it would guide others.
Yeah.
It would show others how we are and how they could have the same thing if they have patience
And faith.
and
Yep.
and the faith to
Pretty
find
much
it.
faith. Open up your eyes, look around you. Like that's another one of mine called eyes wide open, I think, or something like that. Like that's just another piece that pretty much says, in order to see what's around you, you need to open up your eyes. And then once you open up your eyes, you're gonna start realizing things around you.
Yeah, go ahead, baby.
Well, that you need to either A, like fix, or B, you need to get rid of. It's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So this piece that Paul and I are going to be reading after Barry is done, it was written a little bit after Paul and I had gotten together. So you're going to see just how strong the piece is, even from the start of our relationship, just how strong it is. You know, it's unique.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep going on this, Barry, but I feel like from listening to Tessa and you, Barry, I think that is the perfect time to say my new book title is called The Light in the Darkness.
There you go, guys. There you go, guys. You just heard it first. Paul has officially named his new book that's coming out, and it was A Light in the Darkness.
The Light in the Darkness.
I like that. And guys, that was a first to anybody else that listens, to anybody that knows who they are. He's never said that. I've asked him before what the name of his new book is, and he hasn't revealed it. So I'm honored for this personal interview to announce that Paul has officially announced the name of his new book, and I love it, man. I love it. Honestly, I can't say it enough, man. I think it fits perfectly. I think you're gonna
like this even more then. So the book cover, because you know me, Barry. When it comes to my art, I need to show it.
Oh yeah, I know.
I need to express it.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, my book cover is not only me, but it features the one and only Tessa Baker, and it gets even better. Yes, it does. So, The Light in the Darkness is the title. So, what better way to portray it than to have Tessa holding a rose behind her back, while I'm wearing a black hooded robe in the darkness. And where she is standing with the robe behind her is nothing but light. So in the picture itself, it is coming from dark to light, or light to dark, depending on which way you're looking at it.
I like it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really do. Honestly, I can't wait to see the final work of the cover when it's done. I definitely appreciate you sharing that with us today, Paul. That was awesome. I'm psyched. I'm definitely pre-ordering. I'm pre-ordering as of next week.
Oh.
Next week, I don't care. The name and the cover is just sold me too. So
Well,
guys, real quick to let you guys know, I'm gonna let Paul and Tessa take it over. I want to hear this piece that they've written.
you ain't done yet, Barry.
Oh, I'm not. Okay. I'm gonna let Paul and Tessa take over.
No. You're gonna be helping with this one.
Oh, okay.
So Barry, please let the world know too, for your world premiere, of why I'm asking you to speak.
I know this, and I wanna, and if I'm wrong, Paul, slap me in the face. But
I will somehow cyber slap you.
I'm pretty sure he's writing this, and he named it everything because of everything that, not only because of everything him and Tessa have been through, but I do believe in this book he's got pieces of stories that his friends have written. And honestly, guys, to be honest with you, right now, this is me officially announcing it for Paul, but I wrote a piece in Paul's book, and I am truly honored to be a part of his book. I haven't said anything to anybody, but I was very skeptical about it before, because I just thought, telling my story, I just thought people were just gonna laugh at me and ridicule me. But I'm honestly 100% honored to be a part of his new book and to have a story in this book. And to guys, if you want to know what that story is about, it explains everything. Explains my fiance, it explains my son, explains the type of man I was before, and it tells you everything, guys. It even goes into details about my son's the birth of my son, which that was the greatest moment of my life. So so look forward to that. And I know, Paul, I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about, right? Because I have a piece in your book.
Yep.
Because I have a piece in his book, guys. I know that's exactly what he was talking about. So, and the name of the book even fits it perfectly. Paul, say it one more time so people know it.
The Light in the Darkness.
And that is it. That is it, guys. And I'm pretty sure all the pieces that of Paul's friends that wrote, I'm pretty sure they've had dark times and they've come into the light. So that's a beautiful name of the story, and I'm so honored to, like I said, to announce it on today's first ever. Well, this is the second episode, guys, but this is the very first time I've ever interviewed both Paul and Tessa and explained and talked about their work and what they do, and I'm honored. So thank you, Paul and Tessa, for sharing that with us today. That was amazing. Truly honored.
No problem.
Pleasure.
But
Yeah.
guys, real quick, Paul and Tessa are gonna share this piece. I'm excited to listen to it, and then we're gonna get ready to close this video up. So thank you guys for sticking with us, and hopefully you guys will. I honestly don't see people being bored with this, guys. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. But like I said, I'm gonna let Paul and Tessa talk right now, let them explain what they're gonna do and this piece that they're gonna write, and I'm just gonna sit back and I'm just gonna listen. So, Paul, Tessa, the mic is yours.
All right. Well, I will say this is probably another world premiere because I really don't think I posted this anywhere else. And if I have, I think it's only to people who I trust to give me back feedback.
Paul, I don't mean to cut you off, guys. Real quick, I wish I could show you this, and this is how much this is touching my heart right now. I've got goosebumps on my arms of just the emotion and the stuff that we've been talking about. I've got goosebumps on my arms, and that tells you guys right then and there how much I can connect to these two wonderful people and the work that they do, because it leaves chills going up and down my spine, and literally physically leaving goosebumps on my arms as we speak. So go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry. I just had to put it out.
No. It's all good. It's all good. But yes, I believe that it's the world premiere of this one. And this is featuring Tessa because I was also in Tessa's book as well, wrote an exclusive piece only to Tessa's book called Diary of Memories. Is in Tessa's book. So make sure you get that. But for the world premiere, this is called Wrong Souls, Right Souls. And this is coming out in October with the new book, The Light in the Darkness. We are all on the search for the right souls that make us whole and complete from within. Most of our journey come in pain, so learn from it, because we all meet wrong souls to set us on our way. We all meet wrong souls at the wrong time, so let's learn from our mistakes and move on. We'll go on our way while they go off their path, because we are searching for the right souls to find us. Once in a lifetime, right souls can't find the strength, and they chose to end their life, never to find their happiness. Nor do their lifelong partners find their soulmates. If they could have heard sweetness, it would sound something like,
two heartbeats beating together in unison, two souls howling to one another like wolves, the undeniable song as it calls. Soulmates exist if you continue your search. As you go along your path, eventually you will find your other half, the one whose soul calls to yours. fated, meant to be.
Life should amaze us. It takes us on a rough journey as we brave through every battle we've encountered to bring us to where we are today. Keep your head high because you accomplished staying alive. Reach for the stars, they're out there for you to find. It just takes time and patience because you'll never know how or when you will find them. And once you have found them, you will fight side by side and conquer every battle that comes. And when it's all said and done, together forever, they will take you in their arms and whisper in your ear,
Your soul belongs to me, with me, for we are both each other's homes. Take my hand. We will face this world and its obstacles together, my hand holding yours. I have found the mate to my soul, and you have found yours. You won't ever have to brave this world alone again. We will brave it together.
and there you go. That is Wrong Souls, Right Souls.
I can't even speak right now. I really can't, because to hear you guys share that together, to read it, I'm speechless. I really am. I really am, guys. This is the first. I can't even talk. It's just it hits you, man. It really does. It really does. It hits you. With what they were saying, and wow, holy shit. Thank you. Really.
You are very welcome.
You're quite welcome.
Holy shit. Sorry guys. I'm speechless, guys. And that's just guys, and that's
The world premiere.
the world premiere of, and what's that piece called?
Wrong Souls, Right Souls.
Wrong Souls, Right Souls, guys. Love it. Love it, guys. And guys, that is a great way to end this episode, guys. So real quick, I want to thank both Paul and Tessa from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to take up this time to personally interview you. Personally being able to sit here and to shed some light on your guys' amazing work. And also, I would love the fact that we were able to talk about your podcast. Like I said, guys, the purpose of this video was to get these two wonderful, amazing people's names out there in the world for other people to know and to search up and to experience, and hopefully we can change some lives with their writing. So like I said, Paul, Tessa, bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for being a part of this episode.
You're very welcome.
You are very welcome, Barry, and thank you for having us.
It was definitely an honor. It was definitely an honor, guys. Like I said, guys, make sure you guys click those links down in the description below. I will definitely leave them for you guys. I will be leaving both websites for you guys to be able to pick up a copy of both Paul and Tessa's books. Make sure you guys go and pick up Paul and Tessa's new books when they come out. Paul's is able to be pre-ordered right now, both paperback and hardback versions. Tessa, real quick, do we have an announcement of when your new book's coming out? Are we talking this year, next year? I don't think I've asked you that.
Maybe probably by next year, probably
Okay.
2015.
Okay, guys, so there you guys have it. You guys heard Paul's book coming out this year, sometime in October, and Tessa's book will be hopefully coming out sometime in 2018. I know she's definitely working on that. Great pieces in both of their stories. So, like I said, final time, thank you guys so much for being a part of this episode with Paul and Tessa. Thank you guys so much for being here. As always, guys, make sure to hit this video with a like, and as always, be safe. I'm Barry, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.